Everyone's been focused on Bitcoin's recent dip to 99K. The world's largest bank has just doubled down and confirmed the 4-year cycle is over. They continue to stand by their 170K Bitcoin prediction, and they even think it can happen in the next 180 days, but it's not for the reason that you probably think. So let's break this down for you guys. Let me get everything going. Of course, I'm with Sophie today. Nico needs to go take a shower, so he's not doing the show. No, I'm trolling. He's not here to defend himself. Sorry, guys. Anyways, let's pull this up. So this came out this morning, and if you've been watching the show, you're probably like, I remember you guys were talking about this the other day, and we did mention that another JP Morgan analyst was saying that Bitcoin is going to 165K by the end of the year. But this is not the same analyst. This is not the same report. We're not just rehashing the news. They have doubled down on this price prediction. And when you read between the lines, it's like the title says, it seems to me that JP Morgan is essentially saying the 4-year cycle is over. Now, I know that's kind of the common meme right now. 4-year cycle is dead. It's over. It's not happening anymore. I think there's still a little bit of debate open whether this is the case, whether we topped in October at 126. Are we going to continue to pump into 2026 and further into 2028? Again, we've been kind of making the case on the last few shows why people believe this. Essentially, it all boils down to the liquidity that they have to inject into the system. So it seems like, Jamie Dimon out there. Well, it's not actually Jamie Dimon. It's more the analyst at JP Morgan, but this isn't going out without Jamie Dimon's approval. You can make the case for a few different things, and I'm sure we'll discuss which view we think it is. But before I get into that, before we speculate more and I ramble, let's break this down for you guys. So the block reported that JP Morgan sees Bitcoin's price reaching about 170K within the next 6 to 12 months. Again, they did say a few weeks ago, 165K. They upped it a little bit. I believe the last time they had their analysts come out, they said 165K by end of year. So you could argue that this new report, this new analysis is slightly less bullish because this is 170K within the next 6 to 12 months. But if you've been a Bitcoiner for a long time, then it sounds like they're saying the 4-year cycle is done, or what I think is a worse meme, the extended cycle. I just think that's a bad meme in and of itself, but I do believe we are entering different waters here, uncharted waters. So I'm going to read a little bit, guys. I know Opti read along, you guys hate it, but we gotta give you guys the source material, okay? So it goes on again. It could go up to 107 within the next 6 to 12 months as leverage resets, and this is one of the bases of their analysis, what they think is actually going on, which I think is giving a lot of us some new kind of some new material here. I think we've all been looking in the wrong places right now. Again, I've been making the case for you guys on the show for the last couple of weeks that since the institutions came into Bitcoin, things are changing, at least based on what we've seen in the past. And we can't be looking at the same metrics that we used to look at because they're not trading on the same ideas as retail Bitcoiners have been. So one of their new metrics is the leverage resets, really perpetual futures, and its relative volatility versus gold improves. Again, the last time they did the report, it was hinged on this idea of the relative volatility versus gold. So the analyst, led by managing director, I'm not going to try to say your last name, sorry, Nicholas, said in a Wednesday report yesterday that the crypto market has corrected by close to 20% from its recent highs, with the sharpest decline occurring on October 10 amid record liquidations in perpetual futures, the largest in history. Again, that was a little while ago when we were all sitting here, and it looked like it was just going to free fall, but it corrected, and then, of course, November 3rd, we saw another correction, followed by, again, a smaller liquidation in November 3rd. Despite the back-to-back sell-offs, the analyst said the deleveraging phase in perpetual futures now appears largely over. The ratio of open interest in Bitcoin perpetual futures to market cap has fallen from above average levels back to its historical norms within weeks. So we did see 2 huge liquidation events. This is what we're dealing with right now. Everyone's wondering what is going on. We're like, man, Is the cycle over? I know my boys in the chat right now is like, cycle's over, bro. Pack it up. I might troll him a little bit at the end of the show. We're actually we might end this show a little bullish because Nico's not here and he can't tell me not to be bullish on the show. So I am going to rehash a combo that Sophie, Nico, and I just had this morning, but that'll come at the end of the show. Anyways, overall, we believe that the perpetual futures are the most important instrument to watch in the current juncture. And the message from the recent stabilization is that deleveraging in perpetual futures is likely behind us. Now, you're probably wondering what exactly the perpetual futures are. It is not just the CME. I know everyone's looking at the Bitcoin futures prices on the CME. There is a gap at like 91K, which everyone's saying we haven't closed yet. We might go back to that. But the CME futures is not a perpetual future. It's just like a more standard future. The perpetual futures are usually right now on offshore exchanges like Binance and BitMEX. And if you don't understand the perpetual futures, they are a little different than normal futures. One, they have no expiration date. And two, probably the more important idea is they don't actually have to have any spot position in Bitcoin. They're usually highly levered. And they do have like a real interesting balancing of long and short positions to reduce the price deviation from spot. So it's a lot more complicated than just the futures. But again, the point for you guys is JP Morgan, or their analyst over there, is saying that the perpetual futures, what's happening on these offshore exchanges, is really what's driving the Bitcoin price, which is a lot different than what other Bitcoiners have been saying. Again, we've been telling you guys that, hey, since the institutions are here, it makes perfect sense to be watching the Bitcoin ETF inflows as an indicator of what Wall Street wants to do with Bitcoin. Wall Street themselves, JP Morgan, again, I troll all the time, but Jamie Dimon, you could argue trollingly, is the real president of the United States. Him and Larry Fink are the real ones running the world.
There's a couple of presidents of the United States.
So this is what Jamie Dimon, or rather JP Morgan analysts, are saying, that you got to watch the perpetual futures, not just the ETF inflows, not just what's going on with the spot price, but the perpetual futures is really what's driving the price here. Obviously, if you've been in Bitcoin for a while, you do understand, the CME gap meme that, yes, the futures do, futures prices do drive the Bitcoin price. And if there's gaps in the futures price, it usually acts as a magnet. And so they're going a step further. They're like, what's going on these offshore exchanges is really what's kind of affecting the Bitcoin price. Now, going a little further here, on the positive side, JP Morgan analysts noted that the recent rise in gold volatility has made Bitcoin more attractive to investors on a risk-adjusted basis. Again, this is going into the idea, and I think this is what most people were thinking, is that, okay, I don't know if you guys have been watching the gold price, but it has been struggling the last week or two. The last couple of days, it has corrected. It seems like the gold bull run, I'm not going to say it's over, but it is cooling off. And there has been this idea that if any of that capital, if a small portion of that capital rolls into Bitcoin, then Bitcoin's going to pump. They're saying, something similar, that Bitcoin does look more attractive considering the risk-adjusted basis to gold. Of course, they're all chasing the gold price right now. Well, they were chasing the gold price. And I think that's what most people were thinking is, okay, gold's kind of cooling off. That's going to go into Bitcoin. That's what's going to make the Bitcoin price go up. JP Morgan analysts are like, that could be one of the cases. That could be one of the bull cases here. But watching what happens in the perp futures is really, they think, what's driving it. Anyways, the Bitcoin to gold volatility ratio has drifted further below 2, implying that Bitcoin currently consumes about 1.8 times more risk capital than gold. And based on this relationship, the analysts estimated that Bitcoin's current market cap of around 2.1 trillion, it might be a little lower right now, would need to rise by nearly 67%, quote, implying a theoretical Bitcoin price close to $170,000 to match the approximately $6.2 trillion of total private sector involvement in gold through ETFs and physical holdings. And the current Bitcoin price is $68,000 less than what they are kind of forecasting here relative to gold, which, you know, in this mechanical exercise implies significant upside for Bitcoin over the next 6 to 12 months. Again, they are doubling down on their perspective that they think end of year 165K. So it's hard to kind of grasp in your mind. Are they saying 165K by end of year, or did they just kind of supersede their old prediction and saying actually it's going to be 170K within the next 6 to 12 months, which does align to a lot of the things we've been hearing from Jeff Kendrick of Standard Charter. Arthur Hayes has been saying something similar. We've seen some problems in the regional banking. We're seeing some problems in the repo market. It seems for all intents and purposes that QE is back on the table. They are injecting the system with more liquidity. And we all know what the Arthur Hayes thesis is. It's essentially, we have a phone ringing. Oh, sorry, guys. This is connected to someone else. Apologies. This is what Arthur Hayes has been saying, that we're essentially going to be pumping until the end of Trump's presidency. We all know what he wants to do. He wants to lower interest rates. They want to basically print their way out of the debt. The only way they can do that is by injecting mass amounts of liquidity into the system and literally devalue their debt, the national debt. Okay, so that is the kind of breakdown from JP Morgan. Now, I did bring up the perpetual futures charts here. It's not really saying too much, but I will show you guys. So this is the Binance Bitcoin to USDT to Tether perpetual futures contracts. It's looking just as ugly as the spot Bitcoin price here. And I couldn't find the BitMEX one, the BitMEX perp futures, but I think this is kind of what you're seeing here. So it's, you know, holding up at roughly a little bit above 100K. So it's barely holding on to the 100K price. Now, going to the second point of that article from the JP Morgan analyst, this idea of what's going on with the gold markets. The gold volatility seems to be cooling off. The relative basis to Bitcoin seems to be kind of balancing itself out. And there was actually a really good tweet by, was it VJ? Let me pull that up real quick. I didn't put this into my my show notes here, so I will pull that up real quick. And he's making the case of gold cooling down and Bitcoin. Yes, it's kind of corrected, but it seems like he's getting kind of bullish here. We're seeing an interesting divergence going on. So forgive me, guys. I should have added this to my notes here. But it is interesting that JP Morgan analysts, or rather Jamie Dimon maybe himself, is more bullish than most Bitcoiners are on the price currently. I'm going to troll Sophie a little later because she's feeling a little beaten down right now.
No, I think what they're bullish on is how much money they could make from this, right? So part of the reason that they haven't shilled Bitcoin to their clients in the past is because they didn't really figure out the mechanisms that they could use to kind of profit from it as a bank. And I think that now with the ETF, they've been able to figure that out and lock that down. And they're finally offering Bitcoin, or at least what we call Bitcoin exposure, because it's paper Bitcoin, to their clients. And, you know, pensions, sovereign wealth money, it's all possibly trickling in because of this financial, traditional finance instrument. And it's a long-term thing. I think that's why they're saying that it's the end of cycles. A lot of these people aren't willing to take the risk into something that was once perceived as volatile or subversive, you know, black magic internet money. Now it's backed by, you know, the suits. And when the people in suits come in, people feel a lot more confident in their ability to store their wealth, even though, you know, it's kind of like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? It's like, now we're gonna make you rich. Like, now we believe that Bitcoin is gonna hit 170K. And it's like, we've been saying this all along, first of all. Second of all, no, it's not in your hands. And third of all, nothing has changed. with respect to the people who think that they're getting exposure to Bitcoin. That's just my opinion. I think that that's part of the reason why we haven't seen the pump that we were all expecting. I think the people in suits have come in and they have manipulated the market to an extent that it's difficult for retail to really catch up. I think just like 2 days ago, BlackRock dumped like $200 million worth of Bitcoin.
I think that I saw this morning their clients sold like 485
Yeah,
million
no,
as well.
it's climbing more and more, and like we're seeing it reflected in the price. And like, what is someone who is invested in retail to do? What is someone who, a pleb who bought at 70,000 or 60,000 or whatever? Like, yeah, it's like maybe not even someone who was in Bitcoin for that long, but had these expectations of 200K by the end of the year. What are they supposed to do? Like, all you can do is just hold and wait. And if you can, if you're lucky enough, stack more Bitcoin, you know?
Literally doing nothing is the hardest thing to be doing.
It's so hard. Have you ever tried meditating?
Yeah, I'm great at meditating.
Oh, I'm terrible at it.
I
I'm so bad
meditate
at
every
it.
day.
I can't sit still. I can't, like, my mind just goes a million miles an hour. I think that's just like the mom in me.
I literally have to meditate before I come into work because then I got to deal with Nico. So, I have to meditate. How do you think I'm so zen all the time? I got to do at least a little bit of meditating in the morning. Anyways, enough of my daily life here. Enough of my daily struggles here. I found the tweet. So it was Nick Badia. Sorry, I thought it was VJ. And he goes, unique bullish divergence in the Bitcoin price. Price made a lower low, which is what we've all kind of lived through, while price versus gold made a higher low. Good evening. Count your blessings. So this is an interesting thing. Again, I'm going to show you the gold price here. This is just first the gold price. And as you can see, what was this day? October 21st is when we started to see the gold price pull out or cool off a little bit. Sorry. And if I zoom out on the monthly chart, if my internet works, geez, maybe this is TradingView. Let's see. TradingView is dying on me. Oh, that's the Bitcoin chart. Sorry, guys. Here we go. 1 week. Let's go to the month. Everyone. Oh, wait. Why is it? Oh, whatever. This is the Bitcoin price. This is the one I wanted to show you anyways. As you can see, higher low. So I'll go back here. Let me go back to the Bitcoin price and kind of show you what Nick was saying. Now, Bitcoin's made a lower low on the price. Again, lower low. We went a little lower. You can see here is June, lower low, or you can go to September, either one. We basically killed all of the 2025 gains. We are at a lower low on Bitcoin price, spot price, but we are on a higher low in comparison to gold, which is one of the things we've been kind of watching for a long time. A lot of people have been saying, hey, yeah, Bitcoin's been doing okay, but like we haven't broken all-time high in gold terms yet. And remember, Nico had this whole debate with Peter Schiff, and that was his main point. And it's like, yeah, he's right on that front. We haven't really broke out in gold terms yet. And then, of course, gold rallies and Bitcoin does nothing. And we're just like, okay, crazy stuff. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this part up by what Samson Mao said. Again, everyone is wondering right now, are the Wall Street analysts correct here? Of course, Saylor's been kind of saying that's what he said yesterday on the show, or rather in a clip on the show. He said, look, the Wall Street analysts are predicting 150K by the end of the year. Now, can we really believe them? I mean, they've been in the market for 2 years. Of course, they have years of experience kind of charting and analyzing markets. Is Bitcoin a different beast, or is it just normal psychology playing out in a more free market, hence why it's so volatile? Or are the Bitcoin cycles still in play? I have friends that do tell me the Bitcoin cycle's still in play. Actually, update. I don't know if my boy's in the chat. He was saying, look, if we can't break 126K again by the end of the year, then by like March or something, it's gonna dump. And I'm like, bro, like I could have made that call too. Like, yeah, if we don't break all-time high here, then it's going to be a rough Q2. Though I don't think he's literally just like TA chart blowing. He's just like, I look at the 4-hour chart, bro, and the weekly, and then this is what I'm making my trades based on. I'm like, yeah, but there is macro influences into the price now, and that's kind of the big uncertainty going on, is how much money and how quickly can they inject that liquidity into the system. And if that happens and it's a boatload of capital, completely off the table everything we know about Bitcoin, because we all know it's going to happen when they print a lot of dollars. Anyways, last one I want to share.
Do we know what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Because
yes, the more they print,
really, because last time
the more
they
assets have to go up.
Yeah, but the last time they printed, the price just crash.
Yeah, but also the last time they printed was 2020, and we've gone up a lot.
That's true.
It did crash. Again, Bitcoin is the most.
I'm like your friend. I'm minute charting right now. I like have the little thing that tells you the price of Bitcoin in the living room, and I just look at it every couple of minutes, and I'm just like, did it change? Did it go up? Are we good now? Is this nightmare over?
Yeah, guys, you're gonna have to show Sophie some love on the show. She's a little demoralized right now. The price, the show, the work.
It's the hormones.
Yeah, we'll blame the baby. We'll blame the oven. Okay, here is Samson's Mao take, and it does kind of connect. Well, it's really more big. I'm gonna be honest, a little more big, but it does kind of connect with what the JP Morgan analysts are saying. So maybe he's having these maybe he is the quant at JP Morgan. I didn't that was a joke. It might have been a bad one. Anyways, all right, here is his tweet. Bitcoin has basically been flat for 2025. If you believe in cycles, then it hasn't topped. That means a longer cycle top in 2026, or it means a generational bull run for a decade like gold post ETF, or it means no more cycles again, aka the Omega cycle. Plan accordingly. He's still on the idea that the bull run hasn't even started. So Opti, pull up the 1 minute chart now, dude. It is not 1 minute chart time. We only do 1 minute chart when it pumps or it dumps live on the show. Okay. So that's where it's fun. Anyways, this is where I'm going to bring Sophie in. This is where we're going to have a discussion here. Cause I think the big elephant here is we got to remember, one, I don't think Wall Street necessarily, like you said, has our or the Bitcoin network's best interest in mind. They just want to make their fees on top of it. You could argue on like a more bullish side that since they are so greedy, they want to see Bitcoin go up, and maybe they know that the liquidity cycle is coming, the big print is coming, et cetera, et cetera. I know Jamie Dimon's been out here saying for a while that the U.S. economy is not in a good place. He's been positioning himself. I think that's why they did the Bitcoin collateral move. And of course, they're moving into stable coins, et cetera. So you could argue there's a couple different arguments, but I think we got to remember Jamie Dimon's been one of the biggest critics of Bitcoin. He's been one of the biggest haters of Bitcoin. He's said multiple times he's never going to talk about Bitcoin again. And then he stealth launches some Bitcoin products. And he's like, actually, give me your Bitcoin.
He said that this was against his will. That apparently he had to launch this even though he didn't want to. Like, he basically got outnumbered at his own company. And that's why they have a Bitcoin ETF now, or whatever they're, doing over there. I don't care because I buy real Bitcoin. But listen. Who cares what these bankers are saying at the end of the day? They can't really predict what's going to happen. They're fresh. This is their first cycle. We all have to remember that. And if they think that they can really predict what is going to happen here, I think they're sadly mistaken. And Bitcoin is going to serve them their little slice of humble pie. And I don't know. I don't know. I know that they're moving billions. I know that there has to be some sort of price manipulation. I know that retail has turned into the traditional finance side of things, but I also think that Bitcoin is going to do what it does and what it's always done, which is go up. It's just I don't know when. And that's the thing that has me stressed out. And it's funny because Nico said it the other day so well. Markets always do the opposite of what people actually think they're going to do, because if they didn't, then everybody would be rich. This would be easy. Holding Bitcoin would be easy. It would be predictable, it would be stable. And for the most part it has been on a long term, but there's been a lot of pain along the way. And personally, at least for me, this has been one of the more disappointing parts of my Bitcoin journey because of the level of expectation that I have, and because of like this short term kind of like, which as a Bitcoiner, you're not supposed to think this way, but I'm human and I do think this way. It's hard not to look at the chart minute by minute and watch the price pump when you don't think that it's supposed to. So I just have a lot of questions. I'm confused. I want to see number go up, and I know it will. It's just a question of patience, I guess. But whatever. I don't have really much to say on it. Other than banks don't know what the fuck they're doing.
All right, I'm gonna ask the audience here, because I literally brought this up to Nico, and on the one hand, again, you guys know I've been kind of dipping my toes in the macro geopolitical stuff, because I think that is really what's driving all of the chaos in the world right now. There is a monetary reordering happening right now, and I think understanding where the chips may fall is probably the most important alpha you can have right now. And so with that as the context of what I'm going to say, on the one hand, I do understand the thesis that it's going to pump until 2028 because liquidity is going to go insane. They have to inject the system with liquidity. And we all know last time Trump was in, he literally gave us helicopter dollars. So like, I think it was $7 trillion that he printed and injected into the system, which was a lot at the time. Then Biden came in, I think it was 8 trillion. And so my simple math, simple guess here is it's going to be at least 8 trillion, if not more, amount of liquidity being entered into the system. So the Bitcoin pump into 2028 cycle, I think it makes a lot of sense when you put it in the geopolitical kind of landscape. When I brought this up to Nico this morning, he said 170. Jamie Dimon thinks Bitcoin's going to 170K. Damn, that confirms it. We're going into a bear market.
Straight up, like, this is the first time these people have ever entered this market, and they think that because they're the biggest institutions in the world that they can manipulate the price forever. But this is such a different asset. This is like the first actual like hard asset in the world that has the level of convenience that the banks offer, essentially. Well, convenience for people who take the time to learn about it. But I think that I agree with Nico here. Like, the banks are called everything that's the thing. Like, if you follow the pattern, everything that the institutions have said, everything that the government has said, it almost feels like the more good news we hear, the more the price dumps. And so I'm kind of at like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. I'm tired of listening to these people. And I'm kind of just like at this point shutting it all out. And everyone who's saying like, oh, it's gonna go to like all these price predictions, the reality is nobody knows what's gonna happen. Nobody has the crystal ball. Everybody has theories, everybody has this good news. Like, at least thankfully, like, I am grateful that the obstacles are out of the way, and I'm grateful to the Trump administration for that, at least. But it's like Nico said yesterday, the Trump administration has been a bear market. And and these institutions, ever since they came in, like, we haven't seen the same returns that we've seen in the previous years. This was supposed to be a massive bull market by all intents and purposes. We had the good news, we have the ETFs, we have all of this money inflowing, and yet we see more infighting than ever. And the price is not what it's supposed to be at, frankly. Like, this is breaking all of the molds, it's breaking all of the patterns, and I can't really the only thing that's different is the institutions and the governments coming in, and I feel like there is sabotage, and everything that they're saying, you literally, like, almost have to do the opposite. And what was it that you and Nico say? You guys are like, I feel like these people watch, all of our content.
Oh, yeah. They watch all the Bitcoin
And then they just
influencers and
do
they
the
counter trade
opposite.
it.
Yeah, straight up. Like, that's what's happening.
Honestly, could be the case. It could be the case. Though I'm glad that you did bring up Trump, because he was at, let me see exactly. It was American Business Forum. He actually here in Miami. It was happening yesterday and it's happening today. And he did say some interesting things about Bitcoin. And actually, I think the more interesting kind of take on what he said was the tweet by Jack Posobiec. I'm not the biggest Jack Posobiec fan, but he is a part of Con Inc., as I like to call it, Conservative Inc. And he made a very interesting take that I think kind of connects to what Nico was saying yesterday. What you just re-mentioned is like they forgot the most important part, which is number go up and pump our bags here. And so that's kind of the idea. So I'm gonna play a clip for you guys from Trump in a minute, read a little bit of Jack Posobiec, and then guys, also we did get an update on the Samourai wallet dev. Not really good news. Cover that in the news, and then I am since Nico's not here, I'm going to troll a little bit, do some, I wouldn't say chart blowing. I have one tweet, but Nico was making a good case this morning about where he thinks the price is going. Not as bullish as we'd like.
No, but honestly,
but kind of bullish.
No, that conversation just like saved my entire like depressive episode. Like I'm much less depressed after having that conversation.
Yeah. So the culture today is we're just going to try to make Sophie feel good and make her feel less bearish about where we are right now. So that's the layout of the show. But before I do that, of course, I do got to plug our boys over at Bitcoin Well. If you are on the sidelines right now, if you need to get Bitcoin, make sure you go to bitcoinwell.com/simply to get real Bitcoin, guys. You need to make sure you're using Bitcoin exchanges that have no possibility of rug pulling you, because when you use Bitcoin Well, when your dollars go through, your Bitcoin goes directly into cold storage. They have never lost Bitcoin. They will never lose Bitcoin because they never hold your Bitcoin. So scan the QR code here, and when you sign up, you will get 3 chances to win 1,000,000 sats. I believe no one has won the 1,000,000 sats. So it's about time. It's time someone wins the 1,000,000 sats on the wishing well. And that's when you sign up, you get 3 chances. And when you refer friends, and of course, when you buy Bitcoin, you'll get more points. So you get more chances. And then, of course, if you are on the sidelines, if you are one of the smart people that maybe sold a little bit at 126 and you're sitting on some dollars and you're trying to figure out a way how to get $50,000 or more back into the Bitcoin ecosystem, and make sure you go to the Bitcoin Infinite Well product. It's an OTC desk. They will help you. They will walk you through. Maybe your grandma or your uncle wants to get into Bitcoin finally, and they got a lot of fiat sitting on the sidelines. Get in touch with the Infinite Well team. And again, you can buy starting at $50,000 or more at a time. All right, guys, one commercial break, and we'll be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, StampSeed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed phrases really secure? StampSeed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need for you to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates. Instead of just writing them down on paper, paper is fragile. Titanium plates are strong. Your words are actually stamped into the titanium plate with this hammer and these letter stamping tools. Once the words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. And now you can customize your titanium seed plates. You can upload your design or logo and they will laser engrave it on the back of your seed plate, the opposite side of where the words are. Stamp your seed on StampSeed and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the stampseed.com store.
Alrighty then, guys. So the current Bitcoin price is $101,280 per Bitcoin, which is a negative 19.7 decline from all-time high. And we are just barely scraping past the $2 trillion market cap with 2.02 trillion. But I guess what, guys? You know, TikTok next block, the Bitcoin block, the height is continuing to go up. We're at 922,504. Okay, so as I was saying, Trump was at, let me recheck this again. The American Business Forum, you can kind of see it in the corner. It was in Miami yesterday. It's live today. And he was talking, apparently this event, I'm over here just like chat GBTing what this event is because I've never heard of it. And it goes, it marks the first time the forum is held in the United States and is described as the largest global business forum in the Americas. The event gathers over 40,000 leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators worldwide and features prominent figures from sports, entertainment, business, and global culture. I guess some of the biggest names are in here. Let's see. It says, some cultural people, Ken Griffin, Adam Newman, Jamie Dimon. Of course, Trump was there. It's sponsored primarily by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. Interesting. Anyways, let's play the clip. Honestly, guys, I was watching this morning. This clip is low-key absolutely hilarious. Dude, he's still funny. All right. That's all I'm going to say. He's a
natural born comedian.
Dude, he's still funny. Anyways, let's watch this clip. I'm sure you kind of heard what he said in it, but it is actually kind of funny. But it is a perfect setup for what Jack Posobiec tweeted last night as well. So we'll be right back.
For 3 years to embrace a vital industry here in Miami. I've also signed historic executive orders to end the federal government's war on crypto. Crypto is under siege. It's not under siege anymore because it's a big industry. It's a big industry, and I have a lot of people that are great people, great business people. They're in other businesses, but they're in crypto too. And it takes a lot of the pressure off the dollar. It does a lot of good things, but we're into it. Biden was vicious on crypto. They were going after these crypto guys. It was terrible. They were under indictment, but I got indicted too. I made a phone call. Congratulations on your victory. He made a phone call. Let's indict him. These people are the worst. Then they say, he's gone after Comey. They indicted me. They impeached me. They did everything. It's unbelievable. Who the hell else could have taken that? Do you guys know anybody else that could have taken it? I don't think so. A lot of people say, you're the only one could have taken that. I don't know if that's true, but there aren't too many. We're making the United States the Bitcoin superpower, the crypto capital of the world, and the undisputed leader in artificial intelligence. We're leading China by a lot. And don't forget, if we don't do the crypto properly, China wants to do it. They're starting it, but they want to do it. Other countries want to do it. If we don't do it, it's a big industry. We're honored to be.
I had you on because Sophie was like this during the video. Anyways,
Trump,
I watched this and I was laughing.
My dog. Pump our bags.
All right, perfect.
Like literally just pump our bags, pump your bag. I don't care what you do with your bags. Just pump our bags.
Yeah. And actually, guys, I was mistaken. I guess I was reading. It wasn't Jack Posobiec. It's another dude, Jack. But I looked at his thumbnail or profile pic, and I could have swore it was Jack Posobiec. Anyways, I think this is a great analysis of what's going on. He is connecting some dots, and he goes,
Trump is like if Frank Sinatra was a Bitcoiner. Like, he just gives me like this old timey, like, he's like, you're crypto. China wants to do the crypto. So we have way more than that. Not really. Like, by the way.
Well, they did just seize another 100K. Now, we haven't heard about the first 200K, but if it's true, we are actually leading a lot now by 100-something thousand coins.
We need to get the Bitcoin Act passed. Senator Lummis, call me. Let me know what I could do, because I can't do anything. But I really want to get this thing passed. We need to be buying. It's not enough to seize it. It's actually counterproductive to seize it, and it's going to scare people away if you seize it. I think we should just start buying it and backing the dollar with it, and then eventually replace the dollar with it. But that's a whole other conversation. Maybe like whoever's in charge in 2028 or 2032 can take care of that. But still, we need to start buying Bitcoin. Like, I don't understand why Trump is talking about crypto, saying we're going to be the crypto nation. Like, we're not going to do anything unless we actually start buying Bitcoin. Like, forget about crypto. Crypto will rise with the tide of Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is the big kahuna. And I don't know who needs to go explain this to him. I don't know who in his administration or his family or his son, whatever, like, but somebody's got to let him know.
Hey, yo, Baron, if you can hear me.
Baron,
get
if
it.
you're watching,
yo, chat with your dad, bro.
No, dude, Baron's off doing other degen things.
Yo, Baron's
probably.
shorting the shitcoin markets and making millions. Anyways, I like this tweet here, and I think there is something here. And he goes, Bitcoin price action matters. It's not a coincidence that the day after Bitcoin crashed below 100K, Trump suddenly comes out hyping Bitcoin and crypto. The Trump administration definitely doesn't want this kind of bearish price action. Honestly, these massive dumps look like an attack on Trump's plan for monetary policy. That speech feels like a part of counter move. Like I mentioned in my earlier post today, if Bitcoin drops below certain key levels, it becomes a lot harder for this administration to push it as a reserve asset during Trump's term. That's why they had to step in. More updates soon. Now, it is a little tinfoil-y, tinfoil hat, but I think there's something there, because we've actually heard something similar come out from the Trump administration. Not necessarily Trump himself. Obviously, he's always been super bullish. He dropped a couple of shit coins. You know, his children have World Liberty Finance. His sons come out and they're hanging out with Saylor, and they're being very pro Bitcoin. They're going basically all in. But we have heard from spokespeople from the Trump administration essentially say two things. One, they're watching Wall Street, what happens on Wall Street, very closely, and that is an indicator of how good he's doing as a president. And two, we heard something very similar come out about Bitcoin, that they're watching the price of Bitcoin very closely, and that is also going to be an indicator of how successful this second presidency is. And so I think what Nico was saying yesterday, what you kind of just said a minute ago, I don't think they have forgotten about number go up. Maybe there's just other things that they're putting ahead of it. And on the SBR at this point, guys, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, I really don't care about an SBR. What I care about is elimination of capital gains, and like he'll be the GOAT.
Well,
he'll be the GOAT.
Don't get me wrong. The SBR is important for literally one thing, and it's just initial exposure. Basically, we didn't have one before. It's like probably better that we have one than we don't. But it literally doesn't matter unless we have a significant amount, and you're not going to be able to seize a significant amount. You're going to have to eventually buy some, and it's to our benefit as a country. So I don't understand, if the price is tanking, why the US hasn't made strides to accumulate Bitcoin and, make it part of...
Wait. Yo, we need capital controls in Bitcoin. Yo, Daddy Trump, buy Bitcoin. No, I'm trolling. That's not what I want, but that's basically what's happening. Yo, you're Venezuelan. What are you doing?
I just want them to buy Bitcoin, okay? I just want the US to buy some Bitcoin. Wait, why would that be bad?
It's literally a telltale sign of collectivism. It's like, hey, the markets are doing bad. Please save us. Yo, Sophie.
Honestly, yeah, I didn't really think about it that way. But if we trickle that back down to like what's going on in New York, and a certain mayor who just got elected, I mean, people are talking about the why, right? prices are super high. Inflation is making it impossible to live on one paycheck. People are getting multiple jobs just to be able to survive. And Bitcoin really helps fix this situation because it's not so much about the wealth inequality, it's about the opportunity inequality and the fact that some people can hold on and live with that inflation longer than others. And I think that we're seeing that very clearly with these banks who are shaking people out and with the government itself. You don't think that the Trump family has enough capital to be able to wait out a little dip, which for them, it's probably like not a big deal, but for the average person, it's like everyone is hurting so badly. I think that Bitcoin would solve a lot of these things.
Made me think of Nancy Pelosi and Barron Trump. I would be such a good trader if I knew what was going to happen in the market. If I knew it was going to happen before, I'd be the best trader in the world. All right, guys, let's keep it moving. We're going to get to the news. We'll be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money. It's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones, they don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store. I want to give a shout out to our partner, BitKey. If you already self-custody your Bitcoin, you know the deal with hardware wallets by now. Complex setups, clumsy interfaces, and a seed phrase that can be lost, stolen, or forgotten. BitKey fixes that. BitKey is a multi-sig hardware wallet built by the team behind Square and CRASHOUT. It packs a cryptographic recovery system and built-in inheritance feature into an intuitive, easy-to-use wallet with no seed phrase to sweat over. It's simple, secure, self-custody without the stress. Time named BitKey one of the best inventions of 2024. Get 20% off at bitkey.world. That's BITKEY.world with the code SIMPLY.
Hello, Baron? Yes? You're talking to your dad about pumping our bags? Oh my God, that's amazing. What did Nancy say? She's going all in? That's great. That's great. Make sure to
They're
get
going to short.
make sure to get a bit key, okay? Make sure to get a bit key because if not, none of that stuff is going to be secure. So please, let me know when it's in. Confirmed. Baron's gonna pump our bags.
You know, we really miss the Sophie ASMR. Nico can't do it as well.
I know. I heard him do it yesterday, and I almost peed my pants laughing.
It's like, yo, tap it with your fingers.
It's like trying to tap it, and I was like,
it's like tap it with your finger. It's like thudding.
It's like doing nothing.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, guys. We are going to pivot a little bit. We've been having a lot of fun so far on the show.
So much fun.
Yeah, so much fun. Sophie's over here about to unalive herself, and You know, we're gonna walk her off the ledge in a minute. But before we do
You know
that,
what? I think I might just be hungry.
I'm so hungry right now. I'm literally so
That
hungry.
honestly might just be it. Like, I might just be hungry.
I'm with you. Anyways, here's the news for today, guys. So this literally just happened. Breaking. Right before I went live, this just happened. I've been covering this. So the Samourai wallet devs, well, one of them so far, I'll look on Twitter real quick, see if it, you know, I got another update, but he was sentenced to the maximum of 5 years with a $250,000 fine. Now, they followed this up a little bit, and it goes, the Samourai wallet dev, one of them, has received the maximum possible sentence on his guilty plea for operating an unlicensed money transmitter. Again, they pleaded guilty to it. They didn't really get him on anything else except for this, you know, quote, unlicensed money transmitter. He will serve 60 months or 5 years in prison, pay a $250,000 fine, and they're going to do more details on this in a minute. So I haven't checked this while we were live. Let me see if there's something new on here. Okay, here, actually, let me just play this. It is short. Hopefully this comes through, and we'll just watch this together.
Hi, this is David Morris for The Rage here at the Southern District of New York.
Tell me if you guys can hear
saw
this.
the completion of a sentencing hearing for Keone Rodriguez, one of the two creators of Samourai Wallet, a privacy/mixing service. Rodriguez, which some people will be disappointed by, Rodriguez got the full possible sentence for his guilty plea on the charge of operating an unlicensed money transmitter. 1960C, the same charge that Roman Storm was recently found guilty of, and that people, including Peter Van Valkenburg from Coin Center, have said is being interpreted strangely in these cases. But regardless, we saw a Judge Cote, who seemed very unsympathetic to the arguments for financial privacy that were made by Rodriguez in some of his submissions ahead of the sentencing. I'll be writing more about that at The Rage soon. So full 5-year sentence on that one charge. It is worth keeping in mind that in exchange for his guilty plea, several other charges with a potential maximum of 25 years in prison were dropped. And so it's not necessarily that he got a raw deal for the plea. He did potentially reduce his sentence by pleading guilty. He will also pay a $250,000 fine, which, according to his own defense lawyers, is going to be a real challenge because he has obligations already greater than money that he had on hand from his work prior to Samourai Wallet. So it's not the outcome that I think many viewing this are going to have hoped for, but it is still probably less than at least a worst case scenario. Lots more detail to come as I write for The Rage over the next couple of hours, so stay tuned to this space. Thanks.
Okay, guys, so there's the breaking news.
Thank you, Ron and Grant, for the lunch money. Yeah. Highly appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm going to totally use it. Actually, here, let me, before I troll a little more, we're like in the middle of a serious story, and it's like, man, I'm so hungry. Anyways, of course, you guys are familiar. We've been covering this for a while. I am going to read this a little bit just to kind of give you guys a little more info here. So, let's see. Of course, they've been covering this for a while. They pled guilty to conspiracy to violate money transmission licensing requirements for building a non-custodial Bitcoin privacy wallet. Rodriguez doesn't identify the problem Samourai sought to solve. Cote said, quote, "There is no acknowledgement of the criminal world for whom digital currency is a gift. There seems to be no recognition of the human suffering that was facilitated by the defendant. The defendant engaged in very serious antisocial behavior. I don't see the letter to acknowledge this." Cote said, the judge said in response to the clemency letter filed by one of the Samourai Wallet devs ahead of the sentencing, quote, "The letter misunderstands many things. It identifies his motive as protecting financial privacy. That's fine. That's good. But I don't think that's what's really at stake here," the judge said. He pleaded guilty to a subsection of money transmitter licensing law criminalizing the knowing transmission of illicit proceeds. The defense requested a sentencing of 1 year and 1 day, a pre-sentencing recommendation from probation authorities recommended 42 months. The subsection applied to Rodriguez is the same subsection that prosecutors used to convict Tornado Cash co-creator Roman Storm this August. At the time, many scholars argued that the subsection was misapplied due to a lack of licensing requirements for non-custodial services. Earlier this year, Assistant Attorney General Matthew Galetti stated that the DOJ would no longer bring prosecutions against non-custodial developers under the subsection applied to Rodriguez, Hill, and Storm. The defense highlighted ambiguities in the law itself, citing confusion around whether licensing and regulatory requirements, such as the Bank Secrecy Act, applied to non-custodial services. It also highlighted the need for services like Samourai Wallet to conceal otherwise public funds to protect Bitcoin users from extortion and kidnappings. And I guess in addition to the 5 years and $250K fine, he will be supervised released for 3 years. 20% of his gross income will be garnished after release to pay the fine, as will $25 a month or up to 50% of income earned in federal prison work program. So obviously, from a privacy perspective, not really the result that a lot of Bitcoiners wanted. From a personal case perspective, it could have been a much worse for Rodriguez himself. So I'm sure there is some sense of relief here from like how much time am I going to get lost for trying to fight for financial privacy? Though I think, as a lot of Bitcoiners kind of mentioned, and then the whole can of worms that fell afterwards, I think in hindsight, we could maybe say that some of the messaging probably wasn't the best. You know, I don't want to get tomatoes thrown at me and then you guys can call me a coward or whatever, but I think I
think they probably knew that, and
they just said fuck it.
And they just said, yeah, like they said, we're going to do it anyway because this is the price of free speech and this is the price of protecting privacy in Bitcoin.
Yeah, 100%. I think that was kind of the take. Now, from a more big picture view of this, it does bring up a bunch of interesting, I don't know if you want to call them dichotomies or hypocrisies that we are kind of seeing right now. I saw my boy Mark Goodwin. Of course, you guys know him. He's been on the beat with Whitney Webb on the whole stablecoin, Peter Thiel kind of dystopian surveillance CBDC stuff. And he was trolling earlier and he's like, my Bitcoin president, lol, like, yeah, right. And I think that does bring up the greater conversation that I've kind of been bringing to the show the last couple of weeks. You know, all what Simon Dixon's been saying is we are seemingly seeing this kind of fork in the road right now where Wall Street is entering Bitcoin and they want your Bitcoin, but they also don't want the more radical elements that are a part of Bitcoin, and they are trying to whitewash Bitcoin. And it does seem, at least maybe from this precedent here, from the DOJ, where they are totally willing to embrace Bitcoin, but they're going to try to do this in a way where there is no privacy at all. And obviously from these last two precedents, I know, like it said, they changed the law to basically say you can create non-custodial Bitcoin software. But from the Roman Storm case and this one, it is starting to look like they don't like privacy at all. And they are attacking privacy. So we are in the midst of the privacy wars.
They don't like privacy. They don't like self-custody. Like, this is a very slippery slope, right? Because the road from privacy to self-custody is like, it's like really like an inch short. And I don't know. I think they definitely took one for the team, and I'm very grateful for it. And I know that, you know, a lot of people might think that the way that this was handled on their end might have been stupid and, you know, they're going to jail and all this stuff. But like in the future, this is probably going to be seen as like a heroic act, you know, and they're going to be seen as heroes for protecting privacy and not, you know, bending the knee to the institutions that are calling them criminals, because privacy is not a crime. And having your Bitcoin in self-custody is not a crime. So I think that, you know, it sucks. It really sucks. But I didn't expect anything different from the government.
Facts. 100% facts. Someone in the chat said choke point 3.0. That's actually kind of an interesting take here, because Trump has been saying we ended choke point 2.0, or, you know, the Biden administration's attack on Bitcoin. And it does seem, you know, maybe you don't want to be as harsh and say it's an attack, but it does seem like there is a new kind of choke point, which is the KYC, AML, money transmitters, privacy aspects of Bitcoin. And it does kind of fit into that narrative that Simon Dixon's been saying for the last couple of weeks, months, I guess years, saying like there's a two-tiered Bitcoin world that is developing. The captured Bitcoin in Wall Street, and then those that have Bitcoin in self-custody. And I think just very clearly we're just like right smack dab in the middle of that. So again, for you guys out there, do not get called by the siren of Wall Street and give them your Bitcoin. Keep it in self-custody, secure it, make sure that you are doing whatever you can, you know, legally, I suppose, at this point, to protect your Bitcoin.
Yeah, you have to, like, that's the other thing. Like, I think on the other hand, everybody who is ruining Bitcoin's name by using it for illicit purposes, it's like you're not helping anyone, not even yourself. And I think that's one of the great things about Bitcoin and its incentive structure. It's like if you hold Bitcoin, you shouldn't be incentivized to make the general public go against it by using it for illicit purposes. However, that doesn't mean that you're going to use it for illicit purposes just because you want to protect your privacy, right? The two are not mutually exclusive. And it's funny that Trump was talking about how he's protecting crypto in that conference yesterday, but by the same hand, the government, I mean, I know it's not, they're two totally different branches of government. It's not his administration per se, but it's, you know, it's still the government coming after it. It's still the institutions coming after your Bitcoin. And this is the part of, you know, we thought we had hit the then we fight them stage a couple of years ago and that we won. But honestly, the battle has just begun because we're still in the midst of getting these people to understand that they can't change Bitcoin and that Bitcoin changes you. And actually, they're going to have to capitulate to a lot of things that are going to be very uncomfortable for them. They're going to have to give up a lot of power. They can take advantage and accumulate some power for themselves now by buying Bitcoin. But the reality is they're not going to have a complete monopoly on power like they used to. And that makes them so uncomfortable. It makes it so that banks actually have to be useful for you now. It makes it so that governments actually have to work for you now. They have to earn your vote because they can't just, you know, hold the money printer over your head anymore. Now you are the holders of real money. It's not just them. And that terrifies them. And I think that the fact that they are trying to penalize people for just writing code essentially it's a travesty on our liberties. And they just don't see it that way because they have been so used to sitting in the position of power and having that monopoly and complete control of power that it's a perspective game. And that perspective will shift over time. It's just a matter of, you know, time.
Sophie, the motherly wisdom. All right, guys.
The hunger.
Yeah, it's the hunger. Last commercial break, and we're gonna try to make Sophie feel good about the price and where we are right now.
And you as well.
I feel great. I'm
Yeah,
cooked.
dude, everybody
I'm
says
cooked from the
that.
gym. I'm cooked from the gym, and I'm hungry, but I'm actually bullish. I'm literally bullish right now. I think we're going up. Anyways, so now you know the Bitcoin price is going to dump. One more commercial break. We'll be right back.
We're done.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean. and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, bitcoinben.io. If you're into freedom, Bitcoin, and building a real community, this is for you. Gain exclusive access to real-world, members-only, private clubs across the globe, featuring poker nights, expert-led classes, co-working spaces, educational meetups, live events, and more. Current locations include Sarasota, Nashville, Boston, Dallas, Las Vegas, and St. Louis, with new clubs launching soon in West Palm Beach, Scottsdale, Alabama, and beyond. Not to mention Bitcoin Ben's resorts in El Salvador. There's 3 of them, and they're absolutely beautiful. You'll also get access to the first fully backed Bitcoin bank with fiat ramps and savings accounts. It's called Private Key Bank, and you guessed it, it's based out of El Salvador. Go peer-to-peer with Bitcoin bulk buys, tap into home equity for long-term Bitcoin growth, and join their exclusive mining pools if you're interested in mining. What are you waiting for? Head over to bitcoinben.io, join today, where Bitcoin meets freedom.
All right, guys. So yesterday, if you were watching the show, I was kind of teasing you guys. I'm like, if you guys saw my chart boing, you guys would be bullish. And Nico's like, no, we're not doing that today. No chart boing. But hey, Nico's not here, so I can drop this for you guys now. I am low-key trolling a little bit. Like I'll be fully, serious about, like, I am kind of low-key trolling here, but we will have a little more serious conversation and rehash the conversation that we had with Nico this morning. So I posted this on Twitter. Again, I was going to drop it last night. Everyone on Twitter is dropping charts and everyone's chart boying here. But here's the 42 IQ chart boying. And
oh, God.
So, hey, when I'm in control, we have a little fun here. All right. So, again, this is not financial advice. This first part, I am like low key trolling. But, can a boy dream? Can we go back to dreaming and being extremely bullish? So, here is what I was going to tell you guys yesterday. And
did you draw that?
Yeah.
My
this
God.
This
You're
is
drawing arrows.
Yeah,
and
this
lines
is
now?
no. This is my high level TA on my phone here. Okay, so again, I'm trolling. Like kind of trolling. All right, just sort of trolling a little bit, only a little trolling. All right, so what am I looking at here? This is what I was gonna say yesterday, but I'm having more fun today. So we had a lot of fun yesterday, but let's just have a little fun. So again, one thing we have noticed is recently, since 2023, it's roughly around here. Can you guys see my arrow? Is my arrow popping up? Can you see that on the chart? So
Let me see. Yes.
yeah.
I can.
Okay, so it's roughly around here-ish is when the ETFs were launched.
What are we looking at?
So here, this is just the Bitcoin price. I'm on the weekly here, weekly Bitcoin price. And then you can see my MA crosses here. So the red one here is the 50-week moving average. Ever since the ETF launch, with roughly around here, every time it comes back to the 50-week moving average, it kind of holds up. And that's essentially where we are right now. And the reason I circled this area is because I was looking at this yesterday. And I was like, let me zoom out a little bit. Like, where are we? And I am trolling here a little bit. But, here you can see after this bear market, this is 2016. The 50-week moving average is 200-week moving average. They kind of pinch here. We did get across in hours. But anyways, I was just looking, I'm like, it's starting to open up almost like 2017. I'm like, hey, just kind of eyeing this one. You just vibe trading here. I'm like, what if this is where we are right now in 2017, April of 2017, and we are on the verge of a huge pump. And if you do the same price, that's like saying it's going to like $3 million. So like, again, I'm low-key trolling. I'm like low-key trolling here, like totally low-key trolling. But hey, can a boy dream? All right. Can we dream? Anyways, Here you guys can see, you know, it's 50-week moving average. Here's the Bitcoin price on the weekly. It is what it is. But while we were sitting here before the show, again, Sophie was too dark. All I see is off these kindergarten drugs.
I was like, I need to call Nico.
Yeah,
like,
Sophie was so.
what's going on? And
Yeah.
you know, the first thing he told me was, you know, we have to be grateful. At least we have Bitcoin. There's people who don't have Bitcoin. Like everything has been, you know, going really well if you look at it long term. And I was like, yeah, but and then he brought something up that I hadn't thought about in a really long time, and that is the power law.
Yeah, and so Nico was essentially, you know, Perma Bear Nico. He was like, look, what I didn't hear the whole convo. I heard a little bit, and he's like, look, Sophie, everyone has been wrong. He's like, I watch all the content creators, all the price content creators, and every single one of them has been wrong, except for the power law guys. The squarest circle you've ever, dude. I got fat fingers, guys. You can't see these. These are fat fingers.
Oh
okay.
my God,
this is on my phone.
So
This is TA on my phone. Okay. This is I literally like screenshot and like circling on my phone. Anyways,
you know, if you make a circle and then just hold it, the iPhone just makes it a perfect
I didn't
circle.
know that. Again, I got a 42 IQ over here, so I didn't know that. Now I got some game here. Anyways, Nico is like, look, all of the price predictions, every Bitcoin influencer has been wrong except for, and he hated saying this. He's like, the power law guys. The power law guys, it's literally following exactly the power law. And I'm not the biggest power law guy. I honestly, to be fully transparent, I was kind of shitting on the power law a lot earlier in the year. I'm like, it's not bullish enough. Like, you're wrong.
Yeah, but like, it makes sense, you know, because I didn't understand the power law until I was forced to understand it in that
and how Nico said it again, he's like, the basics of the power law is that it takes twice as long for the price to double.
Correct.
And
Which makes complete sense, because if it takes 4 years for the halving, right? For, you know, the difficulty of mining a Bitcoin to basically increase or double, then that means that the price also has to double, and that if it goes above that range, it will correct, and if it goes below that range, it will correct. It makes total sense. I mean, it's sound diminishing returns law of economics, you know? So
that's why I was hating on power law. I'm like, diminishing returns is dumb. Like, there's 3% of the population. It's not gonna diminish. Like, that's just where we are. Anyways, Nico was then following this up, and we were sitting there, and we were kind of, you know, making Sophie feel better, I guess, is probably the best way to say this. And we're like, okay, so like, what is the power law price? Like, what is it saying the price should be today? And so I pulled this up. I'm using the Bitcoin fair price, and let's see. So I have to wait 3 years for the net worth to double instead of 18 months from here on out. I want to speak to the manager. Exactly.
It's
so
like my Karen energy is coming out so hard right now.
Exactly. So anyways, Nico then made the case, and he goes, look, we asked him, okay, what is the power law saying the price should be today? And he's like, it's basically saying where we are right now. So the current price, of course, is 101. It's 11% undervalued based on the fair price of the power law, which is saying roughly 113, bottom 47. But it gets a little interesting and kind of depressing when you go into what the price should be end of year. Then it says roughly power law 120. And you're like, bro, what? Like, this is whack. I want to speak to the manager. What is going on? But then when you go out a little bit, you know, we'll go 2026. Let's go 2026 December. 167. You're like, okay, not as good as I want it to be, but okay, whatever.
The scary thing is the bottom price.
Yeah, let's not talk about bottoms. Okay.
No, because I was like, oh, okay. Like, I thought he was only talking about like the fair price. And then he brought up the bottom price. I'm like, there's a bottom price? What do you mean? What do you mean there's a bottom price?
Yeah, so, here we go. 2027, December 31st, fair value based power law to 230 roughly. Bottom 96K. You go 2028, 300. 2029, 2029. Wait, what's going on? 2029, 400,000. And then you go, 2030. Wait, 2030. So in 5 years is when we get to $500,000. And then I think if he did, what'd he do? If you go to 2040, you're at 5 million based on the power law. So it's not as bad. I'm not, and then the bottom is 2 mil. So anyways, we were talking about all this. I'm not the biggest power law believer. I think it's too bearish, but that also doesn't necessarily mean it won't fluctuate more than the fair value. But anyways, after this conversation, Sophie was like, okay, maybe I feel a little better about this. It's like, okay, this year was a wash. It's basically exactly the power law. Next year, it's 167. The following year is roughly 200K. The following year after that, 2029 is like 300K. 2030, $500,000. You move out like 2040 and you're like, it's $5 million. Like, all right, I guess it's not that bad. But that was Nico's case. He's like, dude, I don't like to admit it, but the power law guys, I think, might be right. And Luke's going to lose it tomorrow because he's a power law disrespecter.
And it doesn't mean that it's not going to go up way higher than that, right? It just means that it might correct back down. And to be honest with you, I like tempering my expectations. I think part of the reason why I feel so demoralized right now is because my expectations were so high from looking at previous charts, and I just didn't expect this to happen. And now that I have like a different framing, it does make me feel better, even if it means that, we're going to have to wait longer. Like just having a timeline, I feel calm. I feel placated now.
Here, I pulled up the live chart here, guys, so we can kind of play with it here a little bit. But what someone said?
No, someone was like, hold on, now I have to find it. They were basically saying like, wouldn't you be happy if your favorite purse was on sale? And in my mind, I'm just like, no.
I want it at full price, bro.
No, it's not even full. It's like if you don't buy it at full price, it just doesn't feel the same. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
well, hey, welcome to
Bitcoin.
Math. So I honestly, before we kind of wrap up the show with the actual chart, I think what is kind of getting you more involved now is that you work with us every day, and so you really feel the day-to-day stress of what we do, and you're like, man, they make it look so easy, but they're stressed constantly.
Honestly, shouts out to the Simply Bitcoin team, because you guys are all killing it. And if you love us, subscribe to our channel, smash the like button, share the show with your friends.
Wait, no,
it really helps the algorithm.
Self just dropped a video today.
I did just drop
give
a
her
video,
some love and watch her video.
I talked about what all you nerds wanted me to talk about, okay? I talked about the core versus knots debate. Maybe that's the reason that the price is being suppressed, blah, 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 blah. Go watch it, okay? I learned a lot. There was a lot of research done. People are still calling me dumb in the comments. Fair. Fine. Go watch the video, okay? Share it with your mama.
Yo, Sophie crashing out on the show. Love to see it. Love to see it. Okay.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Honestly, the more I lose it, I feel like the more we're gonna get.
Oh my God. That was funny. That was good. Wow. We haven't had a Simply Bitcoin crash out in a minute. That was great. All right, let me just I'll pull up this chart. Again, guys, we're just having some fun here. We're having some fun. You got to remember rule number 1, have a little fun. So here is BitBo. Here is the long-term power law. So as you can see, is this today's? No. This is January. This is next year. Power law price 145K as kind of the fair value, low of 51, high of 521,000. So that's where it gets interesting. There are highs here, which basically means it can fluctuate between these prices. But again, when you go and zoom out to like 2030 is when things do get very interesting. Fair value, this is the end of 2030. Fair value 654,000, a low of 225, and a high of $1.85 million. So maybe the power law isn't as bearish as I would like to say it is, but yeah, for reals.
It's so good. It's so real.
But I don't know. That's Nico's take. The power law guys are the only ones that have really kind of been right so far. Obviously, you know, the math here and first and standard, second deviations and all this stuff. It's almost like they can never be wrong. But you know, I don't know. I'm not the mathematician here, but hopefully that makes you feel a little better. Someone in the chat earlier said, "Thank you guys for the show you do. You guys are like therapy for us." And it's so true, dude. You're therapy for
like
me.
Therapy for each other.
Yeah,
well.
I'm like therapy for myself here, guys. So I'm glad that you're on the journey with us. I'm glad we could have Sophie crashing out, showing you guys her true emotions.
You know what? It's called being genuine and authentic. And I know that half the people watching this feel like I do. And you probably need us to show you that you're not alone. That's why you tune in. That's probably why you support us here at Simply Bitcoin. And, you know, we're all in this together, like they said in the great feature film High School Musical.
Okay, that's enough.
I'm getting muted now.
All right, she's off the camera. All right, guys. All right. Again, as Sophie was saying, I do agree with. Look, we totally love you guys. We appreciate you guys. You guys know me. I'm always in the chat listening to what you guys are saying. You know, I really I know there's some people that don't like all of the techniques that we do and what we try to do here. So I love all the criticism. I love all the love. I appreciate it all. You know, I'm listening and I do my best to make this the best show for everyone that watches it. We have a lot of fun doing it. We are super blessed to be here doing this. We're super blessed to have made this into something that not only you guys enjoy, but that we can continue to do and support ourselves and our families. So again, without you guys, we would not be here. We love you guys and we will be here on the journey with you guys every single day. You know, it's crazy. So it's like we're a part of their lives and we don't even know who they are. They're just hanging out with them every single day. And it's like we are a part of their lives. And I don't take that lightly. I really do take it very seriously of coming here every single day, giving you guys some quality, some value, whether it's just entertainment or, you know, reading the news and all that stuff. So anyways, peace and love. I love you guys. We will be back tomorrow for our last show of the week. But like I said, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You know, Sophie's dropping content. Rustin's dropping content. Dante's dropping content. And guys, honestly, go check out Ocean's new show. It's not the new show. It's not a new show, but it's a new format and he's killing it. We're still kind of polishing it, but Ocean's new show is really good. We just need to kind of put the polishing touches on it.
Guys, I'm obsessed with Ocean's show. And like, I don't say that lightly. I don't watch a lot of Bitcoin content and I love Ocean's show. It's literally a work of art. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It's really great.
Agreed. He's killing it. We're super hyped on it. We're still kind of figuring out how to package it correctly, but the videos are amazing. Anyways, guys, we love you. We shouldn't be as late tomorrow as we were today. Again, I'm going to blame Sophie for that one.
Oh my God. I was on time. I was actually on time today.
Yeah, I was on the couch chilling. Anyways, guys, we love you. See you tomorrow. Peace out. This has been Simply Bitcoin Live.
Goodbye.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.